which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Erica, would you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Levy?
Present.
Commissioner Montero?
Here.
Commissioner Romero?
Present.
Commissioner Stolberg?
Here.
Commissioner Teeple?
Present.
Commissioner York?
Here.
And Chair Klesik?
Here. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Yeah. Any board changes to the agenda? Yes.
Okay. We added 13B.
You're requesting to add, which is
Continuing business with ODOT 5311. This is I'll explain in detail, but it's an agreement with ODOT that we received a few days ago that we need to sign in order to be able to process our reimbursements.
So that's 13B.
13B. Was there?
Okay.
do we need to approve changes to the agenda? Anything else?
14, the wrong attachment was in there, we switched it out.
So, which item? The wrong attachment.
14F, TAC recommendation.
So that isn't a change, it's just an update to the packet. The wrong item was attached.
And it's in these packets, and was also the one that was sent out.
Okay, has it been changed online as well?
I sent to Jennifer. For you to switch out the updated packet last night to the website.
Oh, last night I didn't know anything about last night.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we'll get that updated. Okay, unfortunately, that means it won't be available if anybody is logging in today, but we will try and figure out a way to accommodate that. So, does the board approve the requested changes to the agenda? Yes.
Yes.
Move to approve the agenda as changed, as updated.
Move to approve the agenda as updated.
Motion was made by Treasurer Montero and seconded by Commissioner York. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. We're on item 5, which is public comment. Is there any public that is in attendance that would like to make comment online or in person? No? Nobody online? Going once? All right. Approval of the minutes, meeting from June 25th. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Commissioner Stolberg.
I had a question about the timestamps because I didn't see how many matched anything that I had.
The timestamps will match the video recording so that if somebody wanted to go back and see the details of that item on the video as it's posted online, they would be able to find it and not have to watch through the whole thing.
Okay, well, they don't match.
Okay.
They're off by several minutes.
Okay. So we'll look into that to make sure. My suspicion is that's the post-production addition to it, which bumps the timings off. So we'll want to make sure that we're accounting for that in here.
I move to approve the June 25th minutes.
I'll second that.
Further discussion regarding the minutes. There's a couple places that need to be corrected that haven't been brought up. Item 13 and 13A and B.
What page number?
Page number 15. We either have a new term I'm not familiar with, or we have a transcriber transcription program that has decided there is a new word.
Oh.
The very beginning of the paragraph, we summarize the complaint from a paratransit rider, which I believe is the correct term. And then further on in the third paragraph at the beginning, it says Commissioner Montero shared that she had met a para rider. I don't think there is such a thing. I think it's paratransit rider and then paratransit as we go through. So I think we just need to word search that para rider and replace it with paratransit.
I see it in the first, or the end of the first paragraph in A, and then in the sentence in B.
Yeah, so this is not a major, it's also in the next item.
Yes, it is there too.
So if we just do a word search and correct that, I don't think we need to be creating any new transit terms. There's plenty of those around.
I like that term.
Commissioner Stolberg.
I did notice also in item 13 in A, after the third paragraph, that Commissioner York had asked a question about capital improvement, and I didn't see that in the notes.
Okay. Do you recall by any chance what the question was, either of you?
Question was about, do we have any system of measuring what we would do with our capital improvement, or if there were any tracking funds and goal setting
Okay.
with that?
Okay. So we'll just want to make sure, do we feel like that's that? So tell me again which item specifically. So 13.
It was in the conversation under item 13A.
Okay.
It occurred at that time.
Okay. If we want to just make sure we add that part to the minutes before the final approval. Are those all acceptable changes to the board and to the motion regarding the minutes? Who made the motion to approve the minutes?
I move to accept the corrections to paratransit and about the capital. What is it exactly?
Capital improvement.
Capital improvement
So,
under 13A.
motion has been amended. Is the second amenable?
I'll second.
No, there was a second already.
Penny.
Penny, did you second? The motion to approve the minutes.
I thought that Carol had seconded.
Okay. All right, so, and that's amenable to you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just didn't track that because I didn't say it out loud. So just catching back up again. Thank you. So any further discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Election of officers is the next item on the agenda. So I would entertain nominations for chair first. Are there any nominations for chair?
I would nominate Kathy Klezak for chair.
Any
I'll second that.
nominations don't need a second,
Yeah.
but thank you. So are there any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair abstain, Captain, I abstain, one abstention, motion passes. Thank you. Nominations for vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Penny for vice chair.
Any other nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Tia for vice chair.
I would decline that
Okay.
because I prefer a different position.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Will you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Seeing no other nominations, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Nominations for secretary treasurer. Any nominations for secretary treasurer?
I nominate Tito for that position.
Secretary treasurer. Any other nominations? Nominations for secretary treasurer. Going once, going twice. Seeing no other nominations, all those in favor of Commissioner Montero as secretary treasurer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Yeah. So then the next item on the agenda is the executive session. The script in here. Nope. All right. Script on. There's no script on it. So pursuant to ORS 192.660, parens 2, parens I, which authorizes the board to go into executive session to evaluate the performance of the chief executive officer or other public employee when the employee has not requested an open meeting. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. I suspect that will be approximately at 9:35. Unless there's further discussion regarding this, I will recess the regular meeting and we will now go into executive session.
Systems. Supposed to be pretty.
Okay, we're back recording. We'll wait for our director. Oh, yes. Just so that everybody knows, the director is just taking a quick break. We didn't scare him away. We did not lose him. He'll be right back. As far as we know. No, it can stay on.
It is back.
Yeah, we need to turn all that stuff back in.
Oops. Depending upon how. Thank you, everybody, for rejoining us. We're just waiting. Executive director to make it back. So quiet. Okay. So we are on to item number 9, back in the regular session, the executive director evaluation statement. The board just completed its executive director evaluation in executive session. And as part of that process, has a statement, a public statement that has been drafted. Would anybody on the board like to make it? I would entertain a motion regarding the public statement.
I move that we read the public statement into the record.
And I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. Commissioner York?
We'll need to read it into the record, and I assume we'll need to take a vote on the board approving.
Right. Exactly. So do we want to approve it before we read it
Yes.
into the record?
I'll change my motion.
You withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay.
I move that we approve the statement that has been drafted.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Romero to approve the statement that was drafted in executive session. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. I would entertain any further motion regarding the statement.
Now I'll move that we read the statement into the record.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Romero. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. I will read the statement into the record. Subject of the statement is the 2026 Executive Director Performance Evaluation. The Board of Commissioners of the Sunset Empire Transportation District has completed its annual performance evaluation of Executive Director Carr following his first year, consistent with the board's commitment to transparent and accountable public governance. The evaluation reflected an overall satisfactory rating, with the Executive Director's performance rated a board average of 3.24 out of 5 across all evaluation criteria. The board identified strategic planning and long-term service delivery as particular strengths, along with sound financial management and regulatory compliance. The board also recognized the solid performance in building trust and relationships with community and regional partners. The evaluation further identified 2 areas the board will prioritize for continued growth in the coming year: strengthening day-to-day organizational follow-through and increasing the consistency and transparency of communication between the executive director and the board. These findings will directly inform the executive director's 26-27 goals, which the board will formally adopt and will track through the year, including a periodic progress review in addition to the annual evaluation. The board appreciates Executive Director Carr's continued service to the district and looks forward to working collaboratively with him on these priorities in the year ahead. The board remains committed to open governance and to sharing information about the district leadership and performance with the public it serves. End of statement. Okay. Thank you, board. It's been a long and drawn out process, and we certainly hope that next year will not be the same. Process. Time. Okay. Anything else regarding the item 10? Is reports from chairing commissioners. Commissioner Stolberg.
Yes. There's several things that I've seen happening that I got really concerned about. I came by the transit center here on July 1st in the afternoon, about 2 o'clock, and I saw one of our employees painting a symbol on the parking lot designating our handicap parking space. And I was with somebody else, and we both noticed the same things at the same time. This person wasn't wearing any personal protective equipment, goggles, mask, gloves, or a respirator. They had no high-vis apparel on. They didn't cordon off the area. There was no signage warning that there would be anything going on in that area. There was no traffic control. And since the person was kneeling on the ground and could hardly be seen, there was no safety officer or any other employee monitoring those actions. We were trying to pull into a handicap space, and it was apparent that you couldn't pull into either one. And we asked that person if there was an alternate space available. There was not an alternate, and they said no, that we'd have to just look around the parking lot. According to my understanding, rule number 49 CFR subsection 37.16 of federal regulations said that there needs to be a temporary alternative ADA parking space provided whenever there is any maintenance or physical obstruction happening. So I was very concerned about that. I am concerned about the use of our employees in landscaping and the use of our office staff in janitorial work. Specifically with the landscaping, I'm not aware of whether or not these things, because we are a public district, need to be contracted. I would like to find out if they need to be contracted. I am aware of other businesses, private businesses, that do require some contractors in order to do that, because Oregon has some very protective laws around contracting and doing landscaping. There's also a question as to whether or not we can be doing any landscaping or those types of activities along the public roadway, because if it's a state highway, there are other regulations involved. So I would like to know that we've explored all of those issues. I don't know if any of the people that are involved in doing this work right now need special licenses. I would like to know what training our employees are getting in doing the landscaping and the painting as far as regards to health, safety, PPE, which is personal protective equipment, first aid if there's anything that happens, pesticide or herbicide licenses, and the application and the training of the applications of those substances. Even if we're using non-restricted retail available chemicals, I think that we need to make sure that we need to ensure that we are keeping material safety data sheets, not only on site where those activities are taking place, but also in the office and at the storage area where these things are kept. And I'm not certain that that is happening. I would like to make sure that that is happening. I would like to know if we're paying any enhanced workers' compensation rates for these people doing these things that might be more of a liability for us. I don't know exactly how that works. All of these activities are included in the job descriptions for these people. We have asked 3 times in board meetings prior to this meeting today to have the updated job descriptions distributed to us, and I have not seen any. I'm very disappointed in that. When we as commissioners ask for something to be provided that is within our purview, then we need to have results. I feel like personally that having office workers doing janitorial work in the public view during office hours is not an optic that we want to establish here at the district. And that's just my personal feeling. But my concern is, are these people being fully protected in every way that we can protect them so that they don't get injured, they don't get exposed to anything? And there's some training that I know out of my own personal job experience around communicable diseases with that kind of activity. The other thing that I noticed is, again, in monitoring the YouTube channel to review what happens in the board meetings and to review the minutes, I still cannot read anything on the screen. And I looked into this by going into what YouTube has decided to call stats for nerds. And in that information, it shows the frame rate and the resolution that you are using in your videos. And I looked at that and realized that we are only using a 360p, which is a standard definition, low quality resolution in our videos, which according to YouTube renders that video, anything written on the screen, unreadable. I'm concerned about that because we're trying to use that, in my understanding, as part of our public record and part of our public transparency. It is not transparent when it is physically blocked from being legible. I perused other common, popular YouTube channels and looked at their resolution rates, and the standard is 1920 by 1080 at frame rates between the lowest is 16 and the highest is 30. And that frame rate has to do with motion blur and being able to follow and track. I don't know if we need to do technology upgrades in order to do those things, but I certainly think that if that was needed, that's a question that could be brought to the board. If there are funding issues, that question could be brought to the board. But I think that we need to take care of this sooner rather than later, because I know that we are having a growing audience in those meetings. And I know that for my own personal use, that I really rely on double checking things and making sure that I have a good understanding of what is happening in our meetings and verifying the public record. And I'd like to have those things addressed as soon as possible.
Thank you for your comments. I think that potentially we need to bring them up again at the end of the meeting as action items, turning them into action items. But I appreciate your listing all of those, as some of those do have some pretty heavy liability concerns that could be attached to them. So everybody help remember to bring those up as action items going forward.
And I would welcome any encouragement to know how to properly do that.
Yeah. Commissioner Teeple.
Just a couple of things. I went to the barbecue that we had in honor of the Transit Day, and I was really impressed with all the honoring the drivers, especially, and the collaboration between the staff. I thought it was very healthy and united. Also, in my continued contact with the staff, now in the operations office, I am also impressed with their proficiency and their abilities to do their jobs and their loyalty to the organization.
Thank you. Commissioner Romero.
I would just like to say that I really appreciate the how can I say this? I really appreciate the direction we're heading towards. And I think a significant step is formalizing the evaluation process for the ED. I think it's a long time coming. And also, I really appreciate the effort and the commitment that I see from our new board members, and are also from our continuing board members like Carmela. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner York. Commissioner Legria.
I watched the webinar in civil, I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, not a well-behaved group of people.
Incivility?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Okay. And the focus was on private sector, which is not applicable. I mean, some of it is applicable, but it's too different to, I'm not working anymore. And so they have another two sessions. I'll see. I can always turn it off.
Okay, thank you. So that's in reference to some of the vector solutions trainings.
It's CP. I've forgotten what that means. It's put on by CP. We've gotten it on our board.
Okay.
So you can open up the next one and see if it does public, which is quite different.
Thank you. Commissioner Montero.
Okay, so I also attended the barbecue, and I think it's wonderful that we take the time to acknowledge our staff. I was especially appreciative too that members of our TAC and budget committees were invited to join so that they can meet more staff, etc. And I don't know that that's been done in the past, but I think that's a really good move. Since our last meeting, I have attended 2 meetings of the Rural Health Coalition. who asked us to participate. And while they were interesting to me due to my healthcare administration background, the topics that they discussed were transportation was not on the meeting's agendas, and there weren't any substantive discussion of transit related topics. However, I think it's still important that we have a presence there, at least for now, and see if they're going to be doing more regarding transit. I went to the website and there is still nothing on our homepage for someone to be able to contact us with complaints or comments. And we talked about that several board meetings ago and asked that. We also, I asked several meetings ago and sometime during the summer, I just want to put a reminder there, a presentation on what's the experience of our riders who take paratransit. And so I'm still looking forward to that. Is this an appropriate time to make a motion or not? I can review it later.
I would say later.
Okay, I'll do it
But-
near the end when we're
Yes.
talking about the
Yep.
other stuff.
When we have the other stuff
Okay.
that has come up through comments, yes.
No, I'm chuckling.
Okay, good deal. That's it for me.
Okay. For my report, it's always a busy month getting prepared from one month to the next for these meetings with the executive sessions in between and the executive evaluation. I'm glad we have a good chunk of that done. There's a lot of work involved with maintaining this ship on the road the way that it's supposed to, mixing my metaphors. As of mid-June, I am now the president of the Special Districts Association of Oregon, and will be that for the next 2 years. And with that comes more additional responsibilities, and nothing like being thrown right into the fire to speak to a topic that is hot on everybody's mind constantly. Special districts at that meeting voted, the board of special districts, which is not reflective directly of any particular district, just the district representation over all districts, voted to sign on to a letter that was being spearheaded by the League of Oregon Cities to send a letter to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, stating some concerns with how transparency and rules were being interpreted. And then that was sent to the Oregon Ethics Commission. So if you see that in the news and you see Special Districts Association being associated with it and my name associated with it, it's true, it's not fake news. And as a result of that, all of the signers of that letter have been invited to come and attend the next Oregon Ethics Commission meeting in August to speak to what our concerns are. So just letting you know, as the current president of special districts, I don't speak for the district directly, but that is my role for the next couple of years. So just so you know, just transparency and awareness. So, and with that, I don't have any special powers to bring anything up to the board, but if the district does have things that they see as priorities that the association as a whole should be addressing, you should always bring those to your representatives of your caucus, which is at this point in time, the district caucus the at-large caucus, which includes a lot of different types of districts. And we have 3 representatives on the board. So just so you know, make sure you keep February in your agenda for attending the conference. So that is all I have for my report at this time. So we'll move on to the next item. Only slightly off. So committee reports, board policy committee.
Yes. Okay. One of the things you got in your packet probably puzzled you a little bit, but it is, get rid of something here. Yeah, here it is. It's a list of all of the policies. So this is something that the policy committee is working on to get organized to redo and revise and review all of the board policies. And so the listing that you got in your board packet is the listing of all our current board policies, along with policies suggested through SDAO and through an AI inquiry. We've categorized these policies into 9 areas. And we wanted to make all board members aware of this work and give an opportunity for suggestions, for additions, and the order of working on updating our board policies. So this is not an action item. And the minutes of our meeting, which took place last week, would be in next month's board meeting packet. I didn't get fast enough to approve the minutes. We believe that the next policies we will work on are whistleblower and operations policy regarding staff safety. So what I want to clarify is that we're not going into operations. We don't do operations policies. The policies that we are drafting and revising set the board's expectations and include a requirement for periodic review of staff assurance that the expectations are being met. So it's kind of like we set the standards and then we have to make sure that we have oversight that the standards are being met. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that list or if my 2 other policy committee members would like to make any comments. Commissioner Ledria.
So I don't understand under governance, you have AI, SDAO, legacy. I don't know what that means.
What that means is if it says legacy, that policy name came from our current policies. If it says SDAO, it came out of the SDAO template. If it says AI, it came out of the AI inquiry. And what we are getting to is making sure we're not going to do, if this is not every, we're not going to do every one of these policies. We're going to be grouping them together. So all we have is kind of the name of the policy. And we know that there's a lot of redundancy because I think there's 176 lines there. But we kind of group them into areas, and then we're going to take the ones that are all the same and put them in a policy, that kind of thing.
And then the other question is in terms of when the board reviews this, are we going to have a huge packet to review at once? Where you're doing this in sections, and perhaps a suggestion is a work session before a board meeting on the policies for the board members to talk about it.
So our intent is as we draft policies and want to recommend them to the board, we would bring them to the next board meeting. We are not going to wait till we do the whole body of work to be poured over by, it'll be like we've already started. We brought 804 A and B, which we'll talk about later, for the board to consider. So it would be individual considerations.
And another suggestion is that all the board members are given binders, and as you pass a particular policy, we could start a collection in the board member rather than looking through our packets.
So all of the board members should have a binder already. And so as policies are revised, you can take them out of your packet and put them into your binder.
Okay. And so the suggestion about work sessions before a board meeting, discussing policies, or
that would be the board's discretion depending upon the policy. So, I mean, the policy committee's work is to really flesh it out as much as they can. And if there seems to be a particularly challenging one, then they could potentially ask for a work session before the meeting so that the board as a whole could dig into it deeper. But the job of the policy committee is really to kind of get it to a point where the board would be able to discuss easily in a meeting, yes, no, or minor changes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Tebow.
I would just suggest when you submit this to us next time, that you put another column that says it's either in force currently, or suggested, maybe a review date or the date it was enforced, just so we know that how recent it's been.
And I really appreciate that. We still have to collapse this list
Yeah.
into what are going to be the policies. And then I think adding that is really good.
Any other comments or questions for the policy committee?
I will add that you've already seen one policy, you'll see another one today, but we have adopted a new kind of format for policies. And so that's so that it tracks when a policy was started and when it was reviewed or revised, etc.
So I just want to, before wrapping up this policy committee report, I would just say that, yes, as I looked through this, I did notice quite a bit of overlap. And I like the idea of this to make sure that when we are redoing a policy, that it includes all the factors, I'll just say, that need to be addressed in them, because so that we aren't just redoing a legacy one and that might be missing a sentence that then addresses oops, what if this situation happens, as we have seen before. So thank you for your hard work. Yes, Commissioner Stolberg.
And I'll say that in the packet, the spreadsheets here, the part where it looks like it didn't print, it's supposed to say draft, but the watermark didn't show up there. Correct me on that one. So that's why it looks a little.
It's clear on the
Yeah.
on the digital copy.
On the digital version, it was
When you make copies of watermarks, they don't come through.
Executive Director Evaluation Committee.
Yay, thanks for your patience in us working and sorting things out, the how of while we're actually doing it, and probably didn't notice, but we felt a sense of urgency and a sense of responsibility. So I'm glad we've reached this point. More work to do next time, but
Okay.
worry about that later.
All right. Northwest Act doesn't meet until 2 weeks from now. Right?
Yes.
It's,
August
I
13th.
have the date, it's August.
Okay.
I
And
haven't gotten the information from them yet.
You haven't been reached, they didn't reach out to you.
They did, they
Okay.
acknowledged I was
Perfect.
the representative, but I'd asked for the location and of the next meeting.
Perfect. Excellent. Transportation Advisory Committee, Commissioner Alegria.
Okay, the item, the pages have been replaced by which has been passed out, and the executive director will comment on that.
Rural Health Committee, Commissioner Montero.
I think I gave my report during my comments.
Perfect. Item 12, Financial Report. Executive Director Carr.
Okay, I think you missed that what I meant was that this would be discussed, the 14F.
We're not at 15F yet. We're in.
Oh, so, well, that's
Committee
the
reports.
tax,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's the TAC committee report.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's the result of the TAC committee meeting.
Okay, see attached the resource descriptions, the bank statements, the AAP aging, AR, and the credit card reconciliation. We continue to not be able to prepare financial reports at this time. We will be doing that starting next month. In my update with now CFO, I'll have more information. I do want to bring up the fact that we currently have a cash flow situation where we have, in our bank accounts, $250,000 in cash, $750,000 in STIP funds. So I guess it's about $1 million. And then there's $1 million in the contingency. So we have $2 million in cash. What we don't have is, we have not processed our reimbursements yet. We are owed the first quarter federal reimbursements, and then we're going to be applying for the second quarter reimbursements. What that has done is it may create a cash flow situation for us. I will be bringing to the board next month a proposal on getting a loan or some other distribution from the contingency fund in the event that our reimbursements are delayed. There is another item in here, item 13B, which will be under consideration today. And I'll explain in more detail, but essentially if this is not, the agreement is not signed and executed, our reimbursements cannot be processed. So there's a couple of things going on here. We have cash. We want to be able to submit the reimbursements, and we have assistance with that now. And it's now going to be a timing thing. And so we'll come back to you next month. And the idea of coming back to you for access to the contingency fund is there needs to be a process. There needs to be a way to define what a loan is or what other disbursement will be. We want to have that in place in case we need to do it. If I come to you today and say I need money today, is not the appropriate way to approach it. So if we have a process, we know how to do it, and then we can bring it to the board. We can show you the details of it, and we'll be preparing that for next month. I'm optimistic that we won't need to actually use any funds, but at this point, that has to be discerned with our contractor. Any questions for this? Otherwise, I'll move on to the now CFO.
Commissioner Romero.
I have a question. Sure. You use the term reimbursement delays. Are we looking at the standard usual delays, or are we looking at unknown delays, or?
Should be the standard delay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a delay in as much as we've been delayed because we don't have anyone prepared. Okay, so that one will go through. The next one will be on time, on schedule, and it's just a matter how long it takes to process. We're not experiencing, Arla from ODOT is here. We're not experiencing any unusual delays or anything for reimbursement processing during the current term, right? Everything's kind of going normally.
That's correct, and we will expedite your payments
So there we go.
once they get in.
Thank you for that. That help?
Yes, that helps for clarification. Thank you, because in today's world, those terms delays and it scares the hell out of me.
The delay is on our fault, on our side,
Oh, yeah.
because we haven't had an officer. We have help now. We'll be able to process that. That's our number one. I'll talk about that in a second. As far as it's our number one priority.
Commissioner Legre, did you have a question?
It's just really quick. What does redemptions mean other than religion?
Oh, it's just a term used at the LGIP to define how to transfer funds. They have a transfer and a redemption, and those mean ways to move money. And the redeem part just means something. It means
Redeeming is
Is
when we
taking the
take
funds.
money out of LGIP and move it into our MAPS account. It's like there's shares there and we're redeeming those shares, we're redeeming those dollars to go into another account so that we can use them. It's all phraseology that is specific to LGIP.
But so if you're transferring money from A to B,
it's redeem. It's redeem.
isn't that what you're doing? Is that
If
what
you're
you're
a
saying?
purchase, you're taking money from somewhere else and bringing it.
So how do you know, where do you see you have money in A, you've transferred it to B? So how do you know that the money has been transferred, the money and the amount?
So that you
transferred to
look at
B?
the two different statements to make sure that they the transfer from one shows up as a transfer into the other statement.
There's
So there's
also,
two different banks,
And-
not just bank accounts.
and there's also a process. There's an operations process for how it gets processed by staff. And then when you go to LGIP and you say, I want to redeem and send it to MAPS, they have, they do confirmation and there's a number to it. It's just like, you know, when you pay a bill online, you get all the confirmation. And then we just go to the MAPS account and we see that it went in. So the staff is on top of that.
So that's a staff responsibility that the
But-
board doesn't have to.
Not day to day, but that is why we get the statements so that you can match up when you see a redemption from the LGIP account, that you see the transfer in on the MAPS account.
Thank
Does
you.
that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I want to make sure that we close one part of what's going on before we move on to the financial statements as a whole, as we have them, the account statements. Any questions, further questions for the director about what was just said about cash flow, reimbursements, timing, those kinds of things? Any other questions? Okay, and just to be clear, the board chair cannot approve any movement of money from any of the accounts into any other account without the full board's approval. Just saying it out loud so the board is aware that that is the policy and that is how transfers are authorized.
Would this be
Commissioner Teagle.
appropriate to make a motion that we allow the executive?
I would consider that you don't go there just yet
Okay.
because it is in the policy that is being presented
Okay.
by the policy committee.
Any other questions at this time about that? Okay, anything else about the bank statements as they are in the financial statements as they are in the report? Anyone? Okay, well then I have a few. On page 31, the LGIP account seems to indicate that all of the people that have access and are allowed into our bank account are all not part of the district. Is that correct? Or who within the district has access to the accounts?
I can answer that because I've worked with these and you could answer it too. These are the people at LGIP who are our advisors.
Perfect, thank you.
They're like our financial advisors,
Because that's
etc.
not who's.
Yes, when
has access.
we had an issue a couple months ago, I called and spoke with one of them and they guide us through.
Perfect, thank
They
you.
don't have access to the account.
I just wanted to make sure that I was reading it incorrectly was what I was hoping was going to be the answer. And then I also had questions about the definitions of the words purchase versus redemption. So thank you for covering that. Have to get to. We have a stop payment charge on our MAPS account
Yeah.
What page are you on?
on page, 48.
This was due to some errors that occurred in how we moved the money. And so they had to stop payment from where we were moving the money. And there was a charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. It also looks like we have, are we in collections with commercial adjustment? Is there collections action
That's a
happening against
personnel
us?
Issue with somebody being garnished.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we are not in
They
collections
garnish
action.
through us, we take. the
Right,
money
but
out
that's
of their
different.
budget.
We are not, as a district, are not in
No.
collections actions. That was the question. Yeah. Okay, that might have been. That's it on my part. Anybody else? Last chance? All right. Thank you for the statement presentation.
Okay. Give you an update on Now CFO. I'd like to start with introducing our consultant, from now CFO. You don't mind just standing up and just introducing yourself and giving a little background?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Chair and Commissioner, it's lovely to meet you formally. My name is Heidi Lube and I work with Now CFO. I have about 18 years of financial experience in a wide variety of different industries, and I also work with another government agency currently. So I'm excited to dig in. My computer works. I'm getting access to things. Still a few things to wrap up. And then we have a game plan to get the reimbursements going. That's the number one priority. So I'm confident we're going to get you going and have some financial reports for you next month.
Any questions? Commissioner
Yeah,
Montero?
one of the questions I asked when we were considering the contract was how long it would take for the board to receive an assessment of how what needs to be done with our finance department and of its workings. And I can't remember his name, who was here, said that that would be one of the first things that occurs. So can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, number one, redemption. Number two, a current state analysis. So that is second on the list. Once I sort of get my feet under me and take a look at everything, take a look at the processes and see where we need to go from there. So hopefully soon, but I don't want to tie myself to a specific date.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, Commissioner Teeple?
I would just like to be assured that the people who have absorbed the duties of the lack of a finance director will be relieved of those duties, that they're not relieved, but eased of those burdens that were laid on them.
Yes, I believe that's the goal of definitely, and part of the current state analysis of looking at how the team is set up and where things should be going to make sure that we have the right layers of protection and responsibility.
Any other? Yeah. Any other questions? I just have one thing that I want to ask / bring up. That during this discussion for hiring now CFO, the board was clear about that this was not a replacement for a permanent financial officer. Where is that in the process as far as recruitment and determining that timeline and process?
I'm sorry if you have that impression. That was supposed to be one of the things we were going to determine is as we work with now CFO, see what our current state is, see what the work requirements are. It would help us determine whether or not a full-time CFO is going to be needed. I think once we look at what is determined from this report and where we are, we could make a more informed decision on what the next position might look like. There's also the option to retain them on a maintenance basis, which something might save us money in the long run. So I wanted to look at those two options. I think there needs to be look at the current position and what the needs are, and then we need to look at whether or not a contract option is better. What the market has shown us in this area has not been strong in terms of getting people qualified in this area, and all the research we did over the last 6 months, we're just not able to get capable people, but we can certainly continue to look at that. I just think it would be premature to make that decision now to just start filling that position without knowing what our current state is and what the needs would be.
I would like to see those options brought before the board, before any decisions are made, so that the board can consider which direction to take the district.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Stolberg?
For clarification, are you searching only in the region for a new CFO?
No. In our previous searches, we did nationwide searches and interviewed candidates in this country and actually in other countries. Just that this market does not sustain the level of person we need. The qualifications, the complexity of the job are pretty unique and pretty intense. And the salary we are able to pay, and the working conditions, whether remote or in person, all that needs to be considered when trying to recruit in that area. The complexity of the work is it's really grown. It's really very complex. And even though we're small, it has to be correct and it has to be it has to be in compliance with all this, the federal regulations, state regulations, and so on. We've searched we have a very broad search matter.
Any other comments from the commissioners? I just want to say that the board was clear during the meeting in the contract for now CFO that it was not a long-term contract and it was not the long-term solution. And it was buying us time so we could have a thorough process to recruit a CFO. That was all part of the discussion at the time. So putting it back on the record that was what the board had said at the time. And that is at this point, the board's expectations. So not that process should be starting simultaneously as getting now CFO on board, but that is part of this process and timeline was to search for a CFO for our district as that is outlined in our budget and as one of our positions that we have. And until the board changes that, that's the process that should be going forward, with the board being kept get informed and making those decisions actively, not by default. I think that's all I'm going to say right now. Commissioner Allegria.
So my understanding is that there's been some critiques of how the finances have been performed and that there were some issues, problems, and that this would be solved by SDAO. So we have a clean slate, so to speak, of past problems with the finances.
Okay, so SDAO is not part of this process. This is now CFOs that we have now contracted with. And they are, as part of the process is that they are auditing our processes and they will make recommendations to the board for approval to changes to the process if there are needed, but they're getting us caught up, auditing what's in place right now and going to make recommendations as far as what we might need to improve.
And so there was a question about the 100,000 in capital reserve. Where is it?
Yeah.
And they would be researching that to find out, well, where is the 100,000?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's part of one of the
the
digging in that they're doing. Thank you for remembering that. I don't know who was first, Commissioner Stolberg or Commissioner Montero. Commissioner Stolberg.
It's my recollection, and I don't remember the person's name, the man that came to present this project.
Kevin,
okay. It's my recollection that he made it very clear that his company would not be a candidate to take over the CFO operations when he made that presentation. I'd have to review the minutes, but to just reiterate the point that is not what the board agreed to. And we need to keep in the direction that we intended when we voted.
Commissioner Montero.
I believe that one of the things that Commissioner Allegria is referring to is the forensic audit that was performed and the responses and making sure that we take care of all the issues that are in that. And that's part and parcel. I think that's what you were referring to, the past audits that still say there's some things that need to be fixed.
Not exactly, but that's okay.
Okay. I don't want us to forget the forensic audit.
So I believe we did get the forensic audit emailed to us during the budgeting process. The $100,000 question is a question that I brought up during the budgeting process because it was on the sheet and then it disappeared, but there was no accounting for tracking where it went to. So that is a deeper dive issue that it's on paper issue. Not that we lost $100,000, but on paper, how do we track where it went to, where it's being accounted for? That is not a priority thing because we're not suspecting that somebody ran off with $100,000. If we thought somebody ran off with $100,000, it would be a different sort of priority. We just need to know how it's being tracked, which is why it falls down way below on the list and will be part of just the overall auditing and reviewing of our processes and status of our finances that will be happening after we get our reimbursements in line.
The concern I have is that, well, one, our audits have been late. We'll just set that aside. But the problem with some of the recommendations from the audits is like to separate financial works, which is not doable in our situation. So because we're so small. So I'd like to see that we go beyond what we've been given in the audits because we've tried. So how did we? How did this mistakes? The SDAO said blah blah. This figure, don't know how you got it. So how?
Okay, so I don't mean to cut you off, but I think I know where you're going. So the audit reports tell us where we should be paying attention, but they don't tell us how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So now CFO is here, and part of what their job is going to be is to recommend how we can fix those things. So this isn't an audit like we've had before. This is a different sort of audit of systems and processes, not tax line and budgeting audit. This is a processing audit, which can and will produce some, hey, here's a different way you might be able to do that will increase your ability to not have those things pointed out in a budgeting and financing line item audit.
Okay, and the last question is that, so there have been figures, how did these figures arrive? So when this is finished, that there's been questions of how certain figures have been arrived, will this be done? So that we don't get another notice, how did you get this figure?
Yes, so the tracking is part of this, is setting it up so that we, as an example, when we get a reimbursement from ODOT that might be a reimbursement for more than one grant, how are we tracking what it's being applied to? So that is part of the processing tracking audit. And that is how we will be able to say, yes, we have spent all this money on this grant, but we still have this money on this grant. It's not just a jumble of money that we can do with what we want. That's where the issues have been in the past. And so that is part of the processes fixing, that we will be able to track our grant monies in a more complete way.
Okay.
Does
So
that?
just the last comment is, I just don't want to hear another audit, whatever. Where did you get this figure? So that's what I hope, that we know how to track and to put it in the right amount, et cetera, et cetera. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions from the board? Director Carp.
So this is a 90-day contract to do initial assessment and to do damage control and get our reimbursements done. It's only 90 days, so the scope of work may not encompass all of this. It's pretty far afield to get to some of these very specific issues. I think really it's triage. Let's fix the most important things first. Let's get our reimbursements. It's job one, and make sure everything's in compliance. So the rest of these things may or may not fall into that as we're moving forward. I think, thank you for the clarification on wanting to recruit a permanent CFO. I think that as we go through this process, we can certainly look at options for both. But at the same time, if the goal is to have a permanent CFO here on site, then we will need to kind of assess where we are, because I think the danger is hiring somebody, putting them into kind of a mess and hoping that they sort it out as they go through. So this is the sorting process. We may want to extend their contract to sort some more. At the same time, we can do it either concurrently or in sequence to bring in somebody. As we make our reports to you every month, as we share the information, if we look at the things that we're doing, we'll be able to make an informed decision on what direction would be best for us to go. I think, I'll talk with Sam on what we can do to maybe do some kind of recruiting and just see what's out there in the market, do some research. Once you put it out there, bringing somebody in right away, I think that I agree with you saying that the process needs to be a little bit more deliberate and elaborate, but from what we've seen so far, it's not promising.
Commissioner Montero.
I believe that the goal is to figure out the best way to run our financial department. And we don't have enough information right now to know how to do that. And so I think it's premature to put out a help wanted sign for finance director without knowing what all the issues are. And I think this board will make a much better informed decision if we, she's been here a week. We need at least a month, and we're going to get monthly reports. We're going to be able to do something, but our goal, in my mind, our goal isn't to use a contractor, to hire a CFO. Our goal is to figure out the best way to handle our financial systems and proceed from there.
Any other comments? Okay, just one clarification. What we were presented as the reason to go with now CFO for the contracted amount was because they were going to clean up our books and get us ready to move forward with the clean processes and clean books, and from a clean starting point so that we were up to date and current with everything. That was what the board was presented. That was what the board approved. That is what we should get from the $25,000. If that changes, there needs to be notification to the board in a timely fashion, because that is what we agreed to. Commissioner Romero.
Is there a timeline on that?
Yeah, 90 days.
90 days.
Okay. Next item, the ODOT agreement, 13B. Thank you, Heidi.
Thanks.
So this is a request to sign this agreement so that we're able to process our reimbursements. What the agreement is for is essentially a bridge payment to us from July 1, 2027 to September 30, 2027, because ODOT has changed their fiscal year to align with the federal fiscal year. So rather than have to apply for a quarter's worth of grant, they have a formula where they're just going to give us another quarter. This doesn't affect us until that fifth quarter in next year. But what this does in effect is open up our agreement. So our 5311 operating agreement with ODOT is now open. So they cannot process any reimbursements until this is signed and returned to them. It's a procedural issue, but they gave it to me 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, and I want to make sure we got it in front of the board now so we don't anticipate any other, we don't encounter any other delays.
Questions from the board. Commissioner Montero.
So as I read through this, I see that the signature for legal approval from the Attorney General was on June 23rd. I see that Arla signed it for ODOT on July 20th, and it appears you must have received it on July 20th, and then you were notified regarding the urgency on July 22nd, which is yesterday. I guess I have a question. why did it take ODOT almost a month to send it to us and endanger the timely payments? If it was approved legally by the Attorney General and ready to go, why did it take a month for us to get it and get notified?
I think I would defer to Arla. She's here. She processes this. I'm sure there's a process that's involved. It doesn't come just directly from the AG to her. So Arla, if you want to.
We're short-staffed right now, and we got it to you as soon as we could.
And I guess my other question then is this is affecting our next quarter's payment. We're not going to get that payment until this is signed. Is that what I'm understanding?
We cannot apply for our reimbursements we will not get reimbursements until this contract is executed and this agreement's not back into force.
Right. And when were we expecting to get our next reimbursement?
We are working on developing that now. I don't know I can't do the exact timeline, how long it'll take for us to complete that because we have a new person doing that. And then it'll go to ODOT and they'll expedite that for us. I
So
don't have an exact time.
for clarification, the question that you're asking is this doesn't just affect our current reimbursement. It affects our reimbursements that we are late in filing as well.
Yes. Yes.
So if we had filed them in a timely fashion and they had already been in process, this wouldn't affect them.
Right.
But they are not, and so they are not in
Yes.
process yet, which means this will hold them up. I think that the question as to, timing is a valid question, and ODOT being short-staffed and then it being our problem is a valid question to be asking to ODOT to say, hey, you're putting us at a disadvantage. We are also a public body responsible for transparency and processes, that these things need to happen through a valid process. It's not valid for you to say you have 2 days to get this signed. It needs to be
Exactly.
respected in both sides that we are public entities that have processes that have to take place. That is not to say Arla is responsible. This is to say the processes at ODOT needs to take that into consideration. And so what we have in front of us is something that the board needs to both approve and then authorize for signing. And I want to point out some things. There is no names attached to who should be signing it. So you need to specifically say who is authorized to sign it and what the process is, because there's also a line for our legal counsel to sign it. And what does the board want done with that? So before anybody makes a motion, make sure that those things are addressed in that motion, whether we're approving this agreement and who is authorized to sign. Commissioner Montero.
In the past, has our lawyer reviewed the past ODOT contracts and signed them along with someone from the board?
Not aware of that. We did the ones for the 5311, 5310 when I first got here because there was a question about the new equity language that was required.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm not aware of any review.
And if I'm reading this all correctly, this tells us that the dates of a fiscal year are changing, and that because of that, we're going to get, you called it a bridge loan.
Not a loan.
It's not a loan.
It's a grant.
It's a grant that pays for that. And this was also outlined by the ODOT representatives at the, which conference we went to last fall?
TTC.
The OTC, the Oregon Transportation. Yeah, so, I mean, they knew this was coming from as far back as last fall. Okay, so I'm not sure, I guess I'd like to hear from other people whether they think our lawyer needs to sign this, because that also will hold it up.
Commissioner Allegria.
In this circumstances, I think we should just expedite it as fast as possible. Due to funds.
Commissioner Stolberg.
Are the elements listed here on page 1 of 10 changes to the agreement that we already have in place?
Yes,
It says-
it's increasing the funds,
Right.
the numbers.
Okay, well,
It also increased the numbers for what the total project cost is estimated at. They put in bold what they're changing. So we got the section that says what the agreement says, and then the section that says that section will be deleted and replaced with the other section that has the changes in bold.
So personally, this, with my status as a freshman board member, I would not be comfortable voting for this. And I would have to abstain because I don't understand it. I don't understand the legal repercussions. And I do think it needs to be reviewed by an attorney. I don't know if we can make that happen immediately or not. But if it's an amendment to a contract, then I don't think that that's for us to decide on our own.
Commissioner Romero.
I agree with Commissioner Legra regarding to expedite the process, but I think it's significant. And as stated by Commissioner Stolberg, it's essential that this be reviewed by legal counsel.
Anybody else? Commissioner Hebel.
What are the consequences of us not signing?
We don't get the money.
Don't get any.
We don't get any money. They hold up all of our payments because this puts an interruption into our current contract.
So we would take the contingency fund to tide us over, and then at the time that the lawyer approved it, we would be reimbursed? Or would it be lost?
No, it wouldn't be lost.
Okay, so
But
we
I
would get
hope-
it, it would just take longer, so we would have to access our contingency fund.
Possibly.
Right.
Accessing. It all depends on how long it takes. And if we ask our lawyer to review it in an expedited fashion, then it may be that we don't have to dip into that.
So before we go down this rabbit hole very much further, I appreciate that the board is looking out for the legal liabilities of the district. And I do tend to lean towards leaning on our legal counsel, that is the district's legal counsel, before we sign any contracts. However, this contract, the way that it's written, is a standard ODOT contract that there's really not much language change that we are able to make to it. This is a repetitive contract that we basically sign every year, and the amounts change. And just because the last time, or maybe even the time before that, our legal counsel didn't review it, these are heavily reviewed by legal counsel as to their sufficiency and the way that they're managed across the board, across the state with special districts and with transit districts in whatever form they are. Normally, like I said, I am highly in favor of making sure that anytime we come up with a contract, that we make sure, or somebody else gives us a contract that's a third party, that we make sure that legal counsel reviews it. This particular contract, we would be spending money on legal counsel for them to read this through without the ability to make any substantive changes. So my personal opinion, which is one person, is that the board has the option here, approved as to legal sufficiency if required by local process. Other than that, we just need to designate somebody that can sign this, and that we are approving it, and then they can sign it. Because if we are going to continue our relationship with ODOT, and the way that they process funds and the way that they process money. This is how we do that. This is our tool to continue that relationship. Commissioner Stolberg.
Given that information, I would feel more comfortable in signing this. My question would be then, in the past, who would have signed this?
It varies. Most frequently, it is the director that signs this. There are times that the board authorizes the chair to sign it. It's whoever the board deems legally responsible to sign this. I would say that processing wise, because this happens off, this one, I'm not sure. This is because of the printout, and I can't tell from the format for sure. Often that happens in a form online through the ODOT forms portal. And in those cases, it is easier for the executive director to sign it than for the chair to be designated. This one, I can't tell. I would tend towards that. Commissioner
Well, then I would move that we authorize the executive director to sign this agreement.
I second it.
I'd like to make an amendment to that. The motion to approve the contract and authorize the executive director to sign it.
Okay, we're gonna do one first. Okay,
Yeah, but we can put them together.
okay. Then I would ask.
You'd accept that amendment?
Yes.
Second.
And you'd accept that amendment? Excellent. Any further discussion?
Right. So just for further assurance in my mind, so this is not, the contract we're looking at it has been previously existed before, right? It's like a standard. Got it. Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item 14A, technology presentation.
What page are you on?
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, so just give me one moment.
We don't have a presentation.
Good.
So
Okay. But for Ann was
for
going.
future, make sure that the presentation is included in the.
Sure.
Thank you.
Who seconded the motion?
Okay.
I did.
Commissioner Allegria. Thank you. Sorry, I got out of my habit of repeating the motion in the seconder.
It's a small screen up there for you guys. It's big for my screen, but familiar with what's going on there.
Commissioner Stolberg.
Which item number are we on?
We are on item 14A. The confusion is that we don't have any information in our packet that says anything about 14.
Okay, what happened to 13D?
B, that's what we just.
13D.
13D. I don't have a.
Organizational organization chart correction.
Oh, that wasn't on my.
It's not on this agenda. It's on the list of items, but it didn't get on this agenda itself.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the packet though.
Yes.
It's in 14. 14D.
It's
Oh,
It just got renumbered. 14.
okay. 14D.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
13.
Thank you.
Yep. So we're done with 13 and now we're on to new business. So.
Okay, well, I guess it's part of the issue that we have here is how we screen and how you view. So we're gonna start out with I'll just kind of give you a brief introduction of what I'm gonna do, and we'll see where that goes here in a little bit. But as was already discussed, we have some challenges regarding our public screening of our public meetings, whatever public meeting that would be. There we go. Excellent. Thank you. And so what I'm going to do is I was asked to present very basically our choices that we're looking at. We have two options and just wanted to get your opinions on that perhaps. So this is just a short little evaluation on that. We're going to talk about individual dedicated computer stations or a 360-degree single camera with multiple microphones. Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll talk about some of our challenges, a little bit of background. We'll talk about the meeting owl option, and then we'll also talk about the dedicated individual stations, a little cost comparison, and then some accessibility and inclusivity benefits, pardon me for that language there, and then recommendation and next steps. So basically, currently our setup when WIDE needs to approve our board meetings, as you know, are currently streamed and they're recorded using Microsoft Teams. And it's functional, it works. But if you notice that little camera that we got above the TV right now and the microphone that we have here, right out there in the middle, they do their best jobs that they can, but they don't do a good enough job. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but can you stand over here so that the camera can pick you up
Sure.
so that you're not a disembodied voice on the
Disembodied
the
voice
screen.
in the
Have
back.
have a seat so we don't fall off your head.
Okay.
Well, standing?
Okay. Anyhow, so what we've got is we need to choose between these two options because what we have is currently not working the best, and it definitely is a challenge for us to be efficient with that setup. Unclear speaker identification, as some of you definitely have seen. The audio quality is inconsistent at best in most cases, and it's really hard. I mean, I'm hard of hearing myself, and I have to make sure that I'm listening to them on headphones in order for me to fully grasp everything. Then we have other technical difficulties with what we have here. Our current system, our computers, our network, everything's relatively old. And it doesn't process signals very well, process audio very well, process video very well. So those are some of our challenges. And our goal is to just be as accessible as we possibly can be. We talk about transparency all the time. We believe in that. And I just know that for everyone to be able to participate, we need to have a better system. So number one, the Meeting Owl. Some of you may have heard about the Meeting Owl. Some of you may have had experience with the Meeting Owl. This is a single premium device. And what I mean by premium is, if you can imagine where that microphone is right now in the middle of your board table here, that's where the Meeting Owl would go. And it's a 360-degree camera. And just quite simply, it shows all of you and the whole room at the same time, okay? And what it will do with its 8 microphones, and this is key, including an external microphone, it will focus on who's speaking better than any microphone we've ever had. And it will highlight you. It will show who you are. You can see our little video that we're looking of ourselves right now. There's no way that you can tell Jason's talking. You definitely wouldn't be able to tell what my lips are saying if you're hard of hearing. The idea here is you'd have a talking head scenario and you'd be able to read lips. And you'd have also at least 4 to 5 times better audio, right? So excellent 360-degree video. It's a simple setup, and it's really, really focused towards providing visible accessibility. And of course, some of our cons in that is we have, it's just a single point of failure. It's just one camera, and if that goes down, though, we'd never lose that camera up there. We just wouldn't. That would always stay up there as a backup, just for you to know. And then it's a little higher per unit cost, but that really, when you see the cost comparison, you'll kind of understand, oh, that actually works out to be a better deal. Moving forward to option number 2. If you can kind of look at the picture there on the TV, that's not too far from what I'm talking about. Okay, each station will have a computer and a push-to-talk microphone. All right, so that means we would need to have at the very least 8 computers, 8 stations, and 8 microphones. We have to make sure all the cables are connected appropriately, and everyone would have to have their own login teams. And all of you would be logged in the same way that I'm logged in today to give you this presentation. You would be logged into that meeting. Now that's great because the summary and the note taker, the AI note taker, would be able to tell who's talking, what they're saying, far better than even the best microphone out there. However, there are other complications. Okay, so clear audio, that's a great pro. It's really good with Teams integration, although I'd argue that the type of computers, we can't afford $1,500 to $2,500 computers. They would have to be very inexpensive computers, which might present connectivity problems through Teams. But they would be pretty good for that accessibility point that we want to make. But then again, we'd have to go through the challenges with higher setup times. It would make my job and Erica's job, it would be far more difficult. We'd have to add at least an hour to our prep time for all public meetings because we'd have to make sure all your computers are out, all your stations are set up. And quite frankly, figuring out, I mean, can you imagine having to sit down and to log in as you're sitting down? And if one of you don't work, what does that do? It could cause a delay to your meeting, and we don't want to do that. So those are some of the complexities of that. It's a great system, but complex and costly. So if we look at a cost performance comparison, we're looking at the upfront cost of option number one, or excuse me, option number, I got that backwards. I'm sorry about that. But the meeting owl option is as low as $2,000. It can go up to $3,500. And then, of course, with the upfront cost for the dedicated stations, we're talking as low as $3,500 and up to $5,500. Again, it's just separate computers, separate microphones, and a lot of cables. Okay. And if we were to purchase this item and move forward, I'm just saying by the end of the week or beginning of next week, it's reasonable to assume we could have something for the September meeting, an actual running of the September meeting on this and having it out there. So I would recommend this option, and I hope that's the direction that we're going. But I'm ready to go in any direction that I'm advised to go in.
Questions from the board? Commissioner Montero.
I have experienced both options in several different configurations at various board meetings. I started experiencing going to meetings with the OWL at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And at that time, I was told that they were $99. Yeah. And that was from the person who had purchased it. Every meeting that I've attended that uses the OWL, they have it on a table in the middle. They don't have a special tripod or anything. And it works very, very well. I have been highly impressed. I recommended that we do it at Seaside City Council, but they went a different direction. They go more with the individual mic. However, we don't go on to teams. We don't have individual, we don't need to have laptops to do it. So I don't know why in this configuration you would have to do that. But we have somebody who actually monitors, and it's live streaming right to YouTube. So afterwards, the person who, you don't have to edit, you don't have to do anything to the YouTube. It's live streaming. But I think that the owl is a really good option, and I would recommend that as well. That's hardware. I think we can't ignore the software issues that Matt brought up earlier, and that is that we are probably not optimizing our streaming onto YouTube right now, and we need to do that. And that doesn't cost anything, and that can be done pretty quickly. Commissioner Stolberg.
Several questions. I'm trying to formulate them. The computer stations that you showed in the presentation looked like those were laptops. Are you not able to use tablets instead?
Establishment, I'm sorry?
Are you not able to use tablets instead of laptops?
You can't. There's a little more of a complexity issue with that, and it doesn't work as well with Teams. Certain tablets don't. And there's a connectivity issue as well with the microphones connecting to various tablets. The computer right now is the best option.
Okay. As far as affordability goes, I think that's a question that, you need to come to us and see if you need more money. Have you consulted with any IT specialists about different ways to get this done? And have you looked at whether there's an IT service that could provide the services under contract? Because you're not an IT specialist, as you claim, and I understand. That's not, well, anyway, the history there. But are there other options for getting help with running this? And are you reaching out to other agencies that have this technology already in place to see how they did it, how they worked it out? Because it varies from agency to agency what the needs are. So I just wondered if you did that kind of research and consideration with this.
Before we continue down this road, I want to ask Jason how you want to handle questions. On a one by one or all at the same time?
It's up to you. I'm okay with anything. I'd probably like to work with individual questions as they come.
So you've had a few questions asked already. Do you want to address those before we move on to adding more to the questions pile?
Sure. Commissioner Montero, please remind me of any
I didn't have a question.
You didn't have a question.
Mine were observations and a recommendation.
Okay. All right. Did you need me to reply?
I think there was one question in there, and that was the software versus the hardware, right, and optimizing our videos.
Okay. Yeah. So
now without further equipment.
Okay. So yes, right now with what we have regarding our network and certain computers, I have a problem. If I want to go up to 1080p natively on that camera, it stutters. It doesn't process correctly, and I have dropped frames whenever I see it. And going up directly into YouTube is definitely a possibility, but it would still have to be at the current rate that we're at. We don't have the structure underneath to be able to go much higher through a computer onto our network. So we would have a problem with that. So if we are looking at a 4K option, we'd have to make sure that the computer would be able to handle that 4K option.
And that would be a matter of buying one computer that's got 4K option versus buying 6 or 7 or 8 computers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Because I know everything at the city council goes through one computer and it's all controlled there.
So I can address that really quick. So that control that you're talking about, there's a dedicated individual who's working off of a mixer. And those microphones all go into a mixer. Now, I'm not certain exactly how they get the names off of them because without a computer, they don't. Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, the microphones are great. And I'm not sure if that person at the mixer is able to mute everyone as well. I don't know if they're pushed to talk. They're not pushed to talk.
They are pushed to talk.
Okay.
And challenge is everybody's got to get that right up in their face.
And I have experienced that. So in my research, I watched several of those meetings, and there are times, I think you guys got really good at it, but there were times where there's a lot of, if there was bleed audio going into the other one. So that's always a challenge. That's the reason why it has to be push to talk, but I could already imagine some of the challenges with push to talk.
So then there's
Yes.
the questions from Commissioner Solberg.
Absolutely. So let's see here. We were talking about the quality of the video and all that, right? So I think I kind of addressed that already with the technical challenges that we do have. And as far as the processing up to YouTube, I could indeed try to up the quality into YouTube. However, though, I do want to explore OBS. For those of you that don't know, it's a broadcasting system that allows you to do that and stream directly up to YouTube, and see if that would be able to help us to increase that quality going out to the consumer. Let's see here. I'm trying to recall, what was the other question that you had, Commissioner Silver?
I'm going to refine my question. From what I'm hearing you say, it seems like the question needs to be, do we need to purchase an immediate hardware upgrade? And do we need to, and I would put this forward, that just by my exposure to what's happening in the industry on YouTube, I think that you need to consult with somebody, because they're not only hardware upgrades, but they're software services that would streamline this, that would take a lot less time from your day and your workload in order to accomplish the tasks that we are talking about doing. This has been done millions of times before. There are ways to do it that are established, that work, that are simple. And I know several people that run YouTube channels out of their homes and manage to achieve this without too much time. There is cost associated with that, yes. And I'm not asking for a lot of post-production value, but I think that we need to immediately address the issues that we're faced with. Is our hardware not capable of upgrading? And what do we need to do that? And is there software and some consultant that can help us lead us down to the road of the most efficient way to do that?
Commissioner York, you had your.
I was just going to make a comment that I use both. I mean, sounds like we're comparing the computer mic setup versus the owl. The owl was just easy. And as you said, lots of hovering of the IT staff during meetings with the computers, because there were always issues going on. And just my observation and use of the two systems, the owl is just much easier and has a better look.
Commissioner Montero.
And my perception of the OWL is that it's somewhat of a plug and play. Meetings that I attend every month, the meeting leader, if you will, she comes in from Salem and she brings her OWL with her, and she brings the laptop and she just plugs everything in, and it's done in the county building. And so I don't think this is as complex as we need to make it, but probably listening to Jason, we need one computer that's got the higher capability. At the city council meeting, they have that one computer and they keep it in the council chambers. You don't move it, you leave it there.
So to kind of watch the time and wrap this part of the conversation up, I just want to say that I really appreciate Jason's time in researching this. I think that they have focused in on a request from us to upgrade our technology so that we can be more really transparent to our community, so that they can know what we're doing and what is happening here in the district in a much easier way. I will add a couple things to his summary that he didn't bring up. Often the individual computers and microphones are used in spaces that are much larger than this. And if we were to go with that option, my personal opinion and experience with IT is that we would experience microphone interaction issues and reverb because of the close proximity that those microphones would be in, which would add a whole nother layer of complexity. I think that the owl is not always my favorite to watch on a meeting, but it is very effective. And it is very effective in identifying the people that are speaking, zooming in and allowing people that are watching online to actually be able to see who is speaking when they do speak, and then showing the room and moving in a very seamless fashion from one person to the next. I think as far as us thinking that it's a once and done solution, we are going to learn that technology takes constant updating and monitoring. However, that would be, we need to move in a direction. The capabilities of our computers would work with the owls because they have the technology built into the owl to make it so that the video is streaming out of there. I think that Commissioner Montero has identified, not just that we're talking about not just the one thing, but we're also talking about live streaming as far as accessibility is concerned. And that is a very easy solution. And we shouldn't be delaying doing that immediately to be able to just push the button and say, this Teams meeting will also be live streamed and it goes to this channel here. That is several buttons in the Teams setup that should be able to be done immediately. But that is board's decision, and board needs to take an action at this point or move on and just treat this as a presentation. Commissioner Stolberg.
The only thing that I would add to that is I don't know of a way that you can live stream on a Teams meeting and then have it immediately recorded.
We don't need to
available
know
later.
that.
So I will say that there's a function within Teams that you can hit that says stream this meeting live, and you tell it where to stream it to, and we record it and it immediately lives on YouTube and it's there. There's not and record that is necessary. Then our Teams recording is the backup to what is then already living on our YouTube channel.
That answers the question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Alegria.
Is this potential technology included in the budget we just passed?
That is a great question.
I believe so. We included in your budget, I believe.
Yes.
Because
There's
we
the answer to that.
increased the amount of money in that line item.
Commissioner Montero.
So I would also suggest that Jason has can reach out to several different people to give him some private advice. It sounds like you know a lot of stuff about how Teams works and how live streaming works. You might be a resource, but I also think I could point you to a resource at City of Seaside. I would like to make a motion that we authorize the executive director to purchase the owl and upgrade our meetings. Can't think of what else to say on that.
I would second that.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Cheaple. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Go forth and buy an owl. Customer Service Committee. Director Carr.
So with all the activities that are going on, it's, we have not formulated a committee, but our strategy will be to create a survey, and we will survey our customers, our current customers, and we have to structure that and reach out to them, get the information back, because what we want to do is kind of get that survey information so we are informed of what their needs are. So then we can constitute a committee or around that. So we want to reach out to them first, get the information. We are delayed on that just because of all the changes in the organization and all the other things that are going on. We would expect to have a survey out within the next 30, 60 days. And once we have that back, we can bring that to the board and we can take a look at it and we can decide how to constitute this group. We didn't want to constitute it for one thing. We kind of want to constitute it for everything, but we'd like to be able to focus on, know what they want us to focus on. Identify the problem and then create a committee to solve it.
Commissioner Montero.
If you're going to create a survey, I would like the survey tool to be brought to the board because I'm sure we all have ideas about what we want to know from our riders. And it can't be just our riders. Our customers are anybody who visits or lives in Clatsop County. That's our customer base. And we also need to have a good plan for how we disseminate the survey and how we get the information back and put it together. So I don't think it's just writing up a little survey and having it on the bus for people to pick up or whatever. I think that there's more of a plan that needs to be made, but I think that the board needs to have a role in making sure we're asking the questions, all the questions that we want answered.
Commissioner Romero.
Having participated in historically in a lot of surveys, I think it's essential that the instrument is one that is useful and effective. I think that's a given. And historically, have we done surveys before? And what instruments did we use? And I guess I'm the believer that keep it as simple as possible and your information is as good as your instrument survey tool.
Any other comments from the board? Director Carr?
The comprehensive survey would be really great. It's just the cost of those kind of things and the resources, I don't know that we have those available. We were going to just survey our 6 months worth of customers and in paratransit, then have an onboard bus survey with just 1 or 2 or 3 questions. It was not intended to be a comprehensive one. When we do our comprehensive transportation plan, we do a community-wide survey. We pay a lot of money for that. And it's really the resources needed to create the survey and then distribute it and then collate it. We are not currently at that level to be able to create that sophisticated of a survey without spending a lot of money or time or effort. If that is a priority, then we can certainly go that direction, but we would need to probably get outside help to do that kind of a county-wide survey because we don't have the resources or the ability to do that. And we can certainly do small scale, reach out to our current customer base surveys relatively easily.
Okay. Refocus of this conversation. We are not talking about a SETD services survey. We're not talking about a SETD survey about what we as a district do. This committee was a very targeted, focused committee about SETD's customer service. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean and how do we improve it? So I see this as a chicken and egg situation. This has just been flipped from we asked staff to create a committee of people to help improve customer services at the district. That doesn't need a survey. That needs a group of people to sit at a table to say, here's some issues I've witnessed. Here's some issues I see. Here's some issues I've heard about. Let's talk about how we can accomplish some better successes with that. So I want to refocus and redirect the director and staff to create a customer service committee to handle those questions. No survey needed ahead of time. Does the board have anything to say about that redirection? Commissioner Stolberg.
I wholeheartedly support the redirection. My question is, who would the committee consist of? Are we looking for public input, public members?
Yes, it has been requested in the past when we first brought that up.
With that, I would suggest that, I know this might be problematic logistically, but I would suggest that you invite public members and hold the committee meetings at a time that working families could participate. Because all of our committees are during the day, and I know that there are people in the community that want to participate and cannot.
Commissioner Montero.
I wholeheartedly agree that the committee needs to come first because we're going to get input from the public. And that at some point could launch a survey if we need one. I would say that the possibility, first of all, you've got to recruit members for the committee. And I could envision that we first have a transit town hall meeting. Come and talk to us about your experiences, about what you want, about what you've experienced for customer service. And at that juncture, start recruiting people. And that doesn't have to take a long time, but public input is the way to go.
Okay. Any further direction at this time? Director Carr?
Would this committee be, have a board member? Would they be considered public meetings and be required to take minutes? Would they be review committee and make recommendations similar to the TAC? How do we want to constitute? How would you like that committee constituted?
The board asked for a staff-led customer service review committee. This committee would be using public input to improve operations from a customer perspective. So that is not a board-led committee, that is a staff-led committee to help improve, as a tool to improve customer service from the district. The board directed that because of the concerns regarding customer service input and how it was being received. Commissioner Montero.
And I would suggest that you could clarify it by not calling it a committee, but a work group. And so given that we did pass a policy about committees, pursuant to that, it said that the board can create committees, work groups, etc. So I'm making a formal motion that we instruct the executive director to put together a customer service work group to include members of the public from all aspects of diversity, of a diverse set of public members.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner York to direct the staff to put together a customer service work group with representation from a diverse portion of the community. Demographic, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion? Commissioner York.
I would just say, I think that you can start small and that group can help say, how do we get more input? Do we need a survey? Do we need a form? Those things, and let them own how they reach out to their fellow community members. And that's one thing about a work group, a staff-led work group, you can be more flexible.
Exactly. Director Carr, do you have an additional question? Or is it
Oh, no, it was.
okay? That's what I thought. All right. So we're all those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Alegria.
Just have a concern in terms of the finances available now to correct things. It's probably not there. And so is this to consider how you format your committee, because you can't promise a whole lot of stuff. You can't promise new routes, you can't. So
That's why we're talking about customer service.
Customer service, not bus service,
not
customer service.
transit service, customer service. How do we improve our customer service? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Finance Committee.
Yes, I talked about Finance Committee at our last board meeting. I believe that we are now at the time where we need to have a Finance Committee. And it is in our policies that we would have a Finance Committee. I think it's time that we start formulating it. And I would like to get the approval of the board to start that, because the Finance Committee is chaired by the Secretary Treasurer.
What would the finance committee do?
Well, I think the Finance Committee would make some decisions about what they do, but as I looked at our financial report today, there's a lot of stuff on that that would be reviewed by the Finance Committee rather than by taking up the time of the board. And the Finance Committee would be making recommendations to the board. This way, you know, the board doesn't need to see all the credit card things. I actually personally look at every one of those before I sign a check. But that's all work that the Finance Committee. It could be that the Finance Committee also makes recommendations. Here's a good kind of report, board, you may want this kind of thing. So I would see that we would have some business minds and some financial minds on that committee. And I don't see maybe 3 to 5 people, but that's
So if I may, I think that now is a good time because we aren't currently getting financial reports. We aren't getting the reports in the format that we had asked for previously. Forming a finance committee now could ensure that as those things come back on board, that they fit within what the board asked for last time, and then may be able to refine what we receive. It buys us board meeting time by not having to go through the minutia and being able to rely on the finance committee for going through some of those things. It is ultimately the board's responsibility to oversee the financials. However, some of this could be handed over during this rebuilding process to be able to have it being done by a board committee. And by having board members and budget committee members potentially on it, that brings them into our annual process a little bit more than one time a year for the budget committee meetings, and has budget committee members be, more up to date as to what's going on during our whole year and how we go through information. Commissioner York and then Commissioner Stolberg, and we're keeping an eye on the clock, so as concise as we can get to a decision point.
The finance committee can also look at, develop, revise financial policies of the board. Rather than having the policy committee do that, the finance committee is the group.
Commissioner Stolberg.
So then would we still get all the data that we get now in our packets, but the finance committee would give the report or give a synopsis to speed up the process?
I think that the board could decide during the process how much they wanted to hand over to pre-review versus packet review.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further comment, is there a motion regarding formation of a finance committee? Commissioner York.
I move that the board authorize the secretary treasurer to draft a process to appoint and initiate a finance committee.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner York and seconded by Commissioner Romero. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. The org chart corrections. Now we're on to 14D. Executive Director Park.
We just made the corrections to the org chart. It looks like, I thought we were gonna have. I didn't. I'm gonna ask Erica, you made the changes here, so if you could just show those, because I'm having trouble.
Just the clarifications, in the, it's up here, so I got it in front of me as well.
Oh, it's just the first block under the first bus supervisor that was different here.
On the original one, it just said bus supervisor, but he's also the maintenance supervisor as well. And then there was the change below that for mechanic. And then the original one said assistant mechanic, but there is a lot attendant.
Okay.
And not an assistant.
Commissioner Stolberg.
What is a lot?
Their facilities maintenance person, they clean up the bus stops and shelters. They also wash the buses.
Commissioner Teeple.
I'd like to move that we accept the new organizational chart with the correction.
Motion has been made. For a second. By Commissioner Teeple and seconded by Commissioner York to accept the changes to the org chart. Discussion. I have a couple things to start off the discussion. I think that although these look minor, there are some factors that the board should be aware of when things like this change. Does this mean we only have one mechanic for the whole district?
We always only have one mechanic.
That is absolutely not true. Okay, that's different. It has been normal that we have had a mechanic and an assistant mechanic. At times 2 assistant mechanics and 2 mechanics. And a lot attendant is an entirely different classification of employee. Which of these employees are union, and is it in the union contract that the bus supervisor is also a maintenance supervisor?
Bus maintenance supervisor, not in the union contract. The mechanic, I'm only aware of one mechanic. What was the other question?
Is it in the union contract that the bus supervisor also has maintenance supervisor duties?
He's not in the contract.
So the bus supervisors aren't covered by the union?
No.
Okay. As the job description for bus supervisor, is maintenance included in that job description?
Not that I'm aware of. He's the one that does the recording of the information. But to be realistic, realistically, you're an organization this small with so few people, he's going to help out on occasion because we have one mechanic. So if he needs a hand, he's going to give him a hand. I'm not sure. How much of that work is valid, because I don't watch them work, but as far as I know, there's always a need for people to help each other, and that does occur. But for the most part, he does not do any maintenance himself. He doesn't turn any wrenches.
So you just said 2 different things at the same time. You said that as far as you know, he doesn't help out with maintenance, and that he does help out with maintenance.
But he will, I mean, if he needs a hand with something like, here, hold this or carry this or do something like that, he will do that. But I mean, there's no way to avoid that.
If I may.
Yes, you can. You can.
I'm sorry. We are now running into way overtime, and I'm going to take a couple liberties. This is extremely concerning to me that there is job scope creep in the extreme fashion here. Maintenance, mechanic, lot attendant are extremely different jobs, which require extremely different trainings. And job descriptions and bleeding one into the other just because of proximity opens us up to huge potential liabilities when we have somebody that is untrained in one area, helping out in another area. If an accident occurs, we are liable because we're asking somebody that is untrained to fulfill jobs that they are not trained for, without specific job descriptions that say that they received the trainings or certifications and they are updated on a regular basis. If we ask them to do something, we are being put in we, the district, are being put in an extreme position of liability if something goes wrong. And that something could be a wheel falling off a bus. It could be a wrench falling on somebody's foot. All of those things could be a liability because of what's happening here. So this is a huge concern to me. I will just say that up front. Commissioner Montero.
I think we're back at a chicken and egg situation. I don't think we change the org chart or change the names of positions without a job description to back it up, because otherwise we are doing something and we're not fully informed of what we're doing. So my proposal would be that this go back to the drawing board, and next month we get the job descriptions before we change anything on the org chart.
I mean, again, I want to say that this correction is being made so that the org chart reflects what is happening right now on the ground. So it's a little bit delayed and it's a little bit behind the way that it should happen. And we have a huge liability if these things are happening right now, the way that they are. So that is I'm voicing that concern on behalf of the board, as one person, that we make sure that we are reducing our liability by making sure that our job descriptions reflect the training, the certifications needed, and the abilities of the people in those positions. I will also say that this org chart, the way that it is, doesn't reflect FTEs. It reflects people, and it should reflect FTEs. It should also tell us which of these positions are union positions and which positions are not union positions, because those are all things that are important as far as job descriptions are concerned and as far as the board's oversight of the district is concerned. If we fall out with the union, we better know how many employees that's going to affect. We have contracts that are going to, negotiations that are going to be coming up. If we have people that are handling hazardous materials and they don't have the proper trainings, the board better know about that. So this seems like a little thing. It raises huge concerns in light of some other comments that were made in commissioner reports earlier today. So I think that all of those things are in alignment with, we need to watch our P's and Q's here and potentially reach out to SDIS risk management to see what sort of guidance they can give us, what sort of a pre-OSHA inspection process we can put in place, because if OSHA happened to have walked on our property during any of the events that were mentioned earlier today, we'd be in big trouble.
Or a public member called OSHA and reported us, and we had no knowledge of it.
Right. So we have opened some cans of liability concerns today that need to be addressed. So Commissioner Stolberg, you have your name tag up?
My specific question is, this is the 5th iteration of the organization chart since the initial presentation made at the budget committee. And I was new to the budget committee, so I don't know. I thought the budget committee was approving the organization chart during its committee meeting. And I'm pretty sure, since I'm on that committee, that this hasn't come back to the committee yet. So I don't understand why we're having a 5th iteration of this chart at this time. That was my question.
So the as part of the budgeting process, the budget committee looks at the org chart, and it's part of the budget that the org chart is recommended for approval by the board. So the ultimate body that approves the org chart is the board. It doesn't have to go back to the budget committee to be approved, but it does need to be approved by the board.
Thank you.
So, as far as that process is concerned, anybody else? So I would make a motion that this org chart go back to the staff for correction, additions, and more information to be provided to the board at the same time as the job descriptions, so that an org chart can actually be approved.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I just,
So are you asking to have it pulled, or are you amending?
I'm moving to have this sent back to the staff for corrections based on comments. No, I'm sorry. You're right. You made a motion. Sorry.
I would
Thank you.
my motion.
Thank you. It's been a long meeting so far and I lost track of
I
that.
would withdraw it.
Okay.
I'll second your motion.
Okay, so the first motion is withdrawn. And I will make another motion because I made it on top of an existing motion and I apologize, I lost track. I move that the board send this org chart back to staff to include all of the elements mentioned during this meeting that need to be included, corrections to be brought back to the board along with the job descriptions to be approved in the future.
I would second it, but in the future is too wishy-washy for me. I would say next month. That I would amend that motion to say at our August meeting.
I would accept that amendment to my motion. Thank you. So that the org chart with the job descriptions will be brought back to the board meeting for the August meeting. Any further discussion? Yeah, motion second. Further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We're already beyond that.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey,
There's one nay. Commissioner York votes nay. Chair votes aye. Motion passes. Executive Director Carr, you wanted some clarification?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So when you say correcting the org chart, are you asking me to add FTE position if they're not in here existing?
We're not asking you to add any FTE positions. The allocations of FTE according to positions needs to be added.
Sure, I understand. I think
So at
have
this,
that.
no, you don't. You have, this is people, not FTEs. So FTEs could be, one FTE could be two people.
Okay, but in this case, they are.
Okay, but we're adding FTEs to the org chart so that way, if you end up hiring a part-time person, that's not taking up one of your one people, that is part of an FTE. That is typically how an org chart is done.
Okay, I'm not. We don't have any fractional FTE, so
It doesn't matter what we have right now. What you're saying is this is what we allocate out of our FTEs. You're talking about hours. You're not talking about bodies.
Because it ties to the budget, we're not talking people, we're talking FTEs. So right now, these roles are filled by one person. However, you could fill the one person that you have as a lot attendant as half an FTE as a lot attendant and half an FTE as an assistant mechanic. And transportation support services, you have two people and it could be 3 or 4 based on FTEs. Okay,
we have that clarification.
thank you. Customer service complaint tracking report. Erica.
Yes. Got it.
So this is something that the board had asked for, that we wanted to make sure that we were being kept up. There was the ability to keep us up to date as far as complaints coming in and that they were being accurately tracked. And so staff has come up with a plan and format to do that.
So this here is the chapter that shows, we have complaint numbers from when we received it, the date and the time, and how we received it. So did it come with a phone call, did it come over via the questions email, how we received it, the complaint, who the complainant is, their contact information, if that's available, whether it's an email or a phone number, and what is the subject of the complaint, and then the route, the bus number, what is the where it happened, per se, and then the description.
We don't need personal information and phone number.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
It's not being
Sorry.
right now.
Oh, okay.
I think it's redacted.
Okay.
It's not.
However, I noticed,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner People.
I did notice that there were several of the same complaint with the same complaint regarding the restroom here being wheelchair accessible.
So just as you can take it down. Just as a process question, we now have a form that tracks these. How are these complaints then addressed? Who is responsible for them and how are they then addressed?
That also shows on there, that on the further on down on the thing, shows who it's been, we send it to the supervisor, the person who's in charge of that particular, where that area of it is. And then I check back in with them, and it keeps a tracker of how long the process is going. So I can see, okay, I can send it to Jennifer and then Rick. And then I also, at the end of that tracker is also a section where on the recent complaint, the bus supervisor sent me what they had done, and that link is put right in there, so that anybody can access this and go in and see the link, what was done, who was contacted, and all the follow up.
So as an example, if we had somebody that had submitted a repeated complaint and it had gone through the process, and if they were to appear before the board and say, I've, emailed 50 times and I've never heard back from anybody, we could say, can we please see the report on this particular complaint? What was the process that was taken? Who was responsible for handling it? We would be able to see who had been responsible and then go from there. I think that this is a good step in the right direction, and we will see over time how effective it can be in making sure that things are being handled. But I wanted to make sure that this was on here so the board was seeing that the process was established. Whether the ability to submit a complaint still needs to be improved or not can still be worked on. And at the same time, we do have tracking, a reporting, and an initial responsible person, and then a further responsible that is tracking these things.
And then as we have the customer service work group, this can be submitted to them as it's happening basis.
Perfect. This is just a board awareness thing. There's no decisions that need to be made. This is just information. Any questions for Erica? Okay. The TAC recommendations. Director Clark.
So earlier this year, we submitted a grant application for 5339 for buses and for equipment and vehicles. The one for buses has been passed on through the process and will be reviewed later in the year. 5339 for the equipment replacement grant was changed to a STIF, State Transportation Improvement Fund discretionary program, and so is being submitted to the area commission on transportation. Wait, back up. Is being submitted to our TAC for review and recommendation for approval. It's the same application, identical application we approved before, because they ODOT changed the funding source. It means it's going through a different process, a different review, and we will be presenting to the Northwest Area Commission on transportation on August 13th in Tillamook. So submitted it to ODOT. ODOT has changed the funding. It now has to go through a different process. We need to reaffirm that we support it and that it's now going to the Northwest Act for presentation on the 13th. And then if it's approved there, then it will be submitted to the whole to determine whether we get grant funding for this or not. We have the grant applications included. It's essentially, it's identical. No changes here. And then I will be giving the presentation.
So just to clarify, what is the ask here? The TAC is already reviewed and recommended for approval.
It was the only recommendation, the ODOT has asked that any of our area commissions on transportation and qualified E's will provide feedback prior to the final submission. So by submitting to our act, we got that permission.
But you don't submit it to the act until August 13th. So what do you need from the board today to be able to submit this application as a proposal to the act on the
Because
13th?
the TAC committee reviewed it and they've approved it for recommendation. We're asking the board for recommendation.
For approval.
Well, I make a motion to approve it.
Motion was made by Commissioner Alegria to approve this application for STIF funds. There's Commissioner York seconds. Discussion. Anybody have any questions? So the TAC has already reviewed this in this form with the reallocations. Is that correct?
Correct.
And they have recommended approval. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes. Policy committee recommendation.
Okay. My computer just burped on me, so I've got to go back and find it. You have in your packet,
Page number, please.
it will be page number 97. 97.
Commissioner,
Everybody?
to your right, so you're right if you're getting to the right.
Oh, okay.
So previously, the policy committee had brought policies 804A and 804B to the board. 804A was approved and 804B was tabled. At our last meeting, the policy committee combined both of those into a single policy, renaming it as the disbursement and transfer of funds. And the biggest change, because they're both basically about the same thing. But the biggest change is that we took from 804B that instead of actually naming who the board authorizes to affect the transferring of funds, because that could change, and we found that changing over the last few months. What we changed it to was the Board of Commissioners authorizes the financial, oh, wait a minute, this is the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
Do you have the latest version?
Yeah, you put the wrong ones in the packet.
No, that was the update that I made. So the updated version should be in there. If you will show.
Good watch that. Where's the updated?
That's it.
Okay,
So
you didn't, yeah, what's in the packet? Click okay. Yeah. Hold on a minute. Can you go to somebody else while I find it, please?
Or, so we're gonna jump forward to correspondence, item 15A, and go back to the policy once we get that pulled back up again. So we received correspondence, on the agenda, it says correspondence as item 15. On the internal of the packet, it says committee recommendations, so just, don't let that confuse you. It's not a committee recommendation, it's just correspondence from, Susie McCleary. And it was nicely summarized so that it was easier to read. And I just wanted to make sure that we were aware of it and read that, Susie McCleary submitted a service improvement form. She rides the bus from downtown Alderbrook and often waits a while and doesn't know the schedule. So this basically points to how do we make our schedules and our bus timing a little bit more visible and easily accessible. So this, I'm hoping, would be a good thing, another good thing that we can tackle over time as far as communications outwards. This is nobody in specific. This is all of us in general. How do we look at these things and make sure that we are communicating with our riding public in an effective way? How are we reaching them where they are instead of expecting them to come to us to look for the information? Does anybody have any questions or comments about this?
I only had a question about the form. Is this form new or have we had it? How do I get one? Where are they available?
It looks like it's handwritten, so it's, I don't know if it's available at the transit center.
Yes.
Okay, so it should also be available online, which it isn't.
I just didn't know. Is this a new form that we've established? The service improvement form. I haven't heard of it.
Do we have an answer for that? Is this a new form?
No, it is not a new form. Sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, no, it is not a new form and it's only available through the transit center lobby, but we can make that change and put it on the website.
If we can make it a fillable form online, that would be even better.
Yes. Those are things that Jason and I have talked about, improvements for our website, so.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well.
It's happy that's wrong. Okay, so thank you. We're grateful for all interactions from the public and that she was able to find a form that we were unaware of is excellent. Thank you for showing us where we can create some improvements easily. Executive Director report.
That's the old one.
Okay,
This is what she gave. This is the new one.
That's not the new one.
I'm just saying this.
Executive Director report.
so, we're working on our SDO strategic plan next steps. The grant applications 5310, 5311 have been submitted. There were some comments that ODOT requested in terms of some details, and we have submitted those or are working on them. I attended a meeting in the Southwest Washington Transit Summit with agencies in the Southwest Washington area in order to enhance our relationship with them. We do some interaction with Pacífico County, and we find it's a good to have a relationship with the other transit agencies. Even though we don't connect with them currently, there's an opportunity to do that in the future. I attended the Clatsop Rural Health Coalition meeting, and there is a survey they're doing regarding transportation. Actually, there's a survey that they are getting applied for funding for to do regarding healthcare transportation. So if they receive that funding and they do the survey, we will be participating in that in some form or fashion once the award is made. We have an iFocus laptop that was supposed to have been installed for our cybersecurity. We received a grant from that from SDAO, but the laptop has still not been received. We met with the community, Clatsop Community Action to discuss plan for possible pedestrian crossing at 17th and US 101. I understand some of the commission members have engaged in that conversation as well. We'll be making a field trip out there. It's on my calendar in August to go look at the area and to provide input. Now CFO we've talked about and the water website, and we're going to be attending a meeting in the future on website upgrades. That's all I have.
Commissioner Spielberg.
I have a couple of questions on the ODOT 5311 and 5310 grant applications. In that paragraph, it's written the word disbarment. Do you mean disbursement there?
No disbarment.
Disbarment.
We have not been disbarred.
Yeah,
But if they want us to go online, show on this particular website to show that we're not disbarred.
Okay.
Well, we have, and so we're in a process to get access to that website, make sure we're in there because we have not been, and confirm that it's in there, and then send that in with our application. We have time to do that, but it takes more than a minute to get access to the federal government website, get the information in there and confirmed, and then we will provide a copy of that to ODOT.
Okay. The other question I had was, what's our involvement with the pedestrian crossing?
It's for a bus stop to be adjacent to that, so we will provide input on where the bus stop should go.
Shelter.
Hmm?
Shelter.
Yeah, well, it's possible for shelter. The contractor who's building this project would be responsible for either building a sidewalk, putting in a pad, or something like that. These amenities for us to add a shelter to in the future. So while we don't have any plans for that at this point, we want to be able to participate in their planning and their design so that in the event they do build this infrastructure, that we've asked them, hey, throw in a pad so that we have a place for a shelter. We asked them that they put the shelter on the far side of the driveway so that we can park a bus there. So we're just participating in their design and their request to the city or ODOT for their infrastructure improvements. And by participating, we feel we can get the best opportunity to get bus improvements included in the project if that's possible.
Well, thank you for clarification. It sounded like you were going to put in a crossing, but that's not our.
No, it's an ODOT project.
Any other questions for Director Carr? Thank you for asking the question about the disbarment. I have that highlighted as well. Appreciate that. The meetings that you're having with Mark Knudsen for SDAO to start planning department level implementations, are those meetings included in the previously paid for contracted services, or are these extra meetings that are costing us more money that we have not allocated monies for in this process?
It would cost more.
You said in Clatsop Rural Health Coalition that you're discussing a survey for SUD transportation. Can you please explain what that acronym is?
I don't recall. I'd have to look it up, but it has to do with the service district they're in to provide. I mean, the context of the conversation was they're doing a survey of medical health providers for their transportation needs. The SUD is a state acronym. I have to look it up.
Okay. I guess I would just say, if you're going to use acronyms, please explain them in the report. You also said that the iFocus laptop is for cybersecurity purposes. Mm-hmm. What role is one laptop
It's additional backup. It's a backup for a backup, so that in the event we get hacked, then they take over our computer, we have a backup computer that has stuff on a different database.
So it's creating an isolated file.
Yes.
Okay. You also mentioned the Nuwata website and attending a meeting on website upgrades. When and at what level does the board get involved with feedback and input on what upgrades and implementation is happening with the website?
I think we would attend the meeting and then the meeting's been scheduled for several weeks out. I don't recall the date. At that meeting, we can certainly put our game plan together on how this is going to be, what they're going to allow us the opportunity to do and when that timeline is, and we can bring that back to the board in August with a presentation on what we were presented by Nuwata.
Thank you. Questions? Any other questions? Back to the board policies?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The only change we made, and you have the old policy in your packet. Item number 4 on the policies.
On page what?
This is
What 70 is the old one?
yeah, page 70. Okay. We changed item number 4 from saying that the Board of Commissioners authorizes the financial officer and the executive assistant to effect transferring funds between accounts. We changed that to the Board of Commissioners appoints staff who are authorized to effect transferring funds between accounts. Such appointments will be reviewed at least annually by the Finance Committee, which will make recommendations to the board regarding changes. That allows the board to make changes at any time without changing the policy. And it puts the review responsibility on the Finance Committee. And so we are recommending that the board accept making 804A and 804B, just plain old 804, adding them together and changing the title to disbursement and transfer of funds, and item number 4 to provide greater flexibility in when and who gets appointed. And you don't have it there.
Do we have a motion?
I would move that we accept the policy committee's combination or of 804 and 804A and B into one policy
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Teeple and seconded by Commissioner Spielberg. Any further discussion? Thank you. And it will be in the minutes the way it was read to us during the meeting.
Yeah, the correct one will be in the minutes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We've adopted a policy.
Oh, you know what? Combination of 804. Yeah, you don't have to say delete. No, that's fine.
Okay, so operations.
Hello, are there any questions for my board report?
Any questions? I just have a question. The numbers that you presented in your board report, which thank you very much. I appreciate that. What is the time period that those are? Is that a monthly or a
Thank you.
year to date?
Monthly,
Okay.
yeah, the previous month.
Great, thank you.
I would just also say that I really appreciated seeing those numbers there. That helped a lot in understanding where we're at.
Excellent. Any other questions for Jennifer? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mobility.
I'll be brief. I have to be back at the fair in about 2 minutes. So,
Good luck with that.
yeah. Let's see. Just any questions regarding my report? Just been busy working through doing some travel training, some route surveys, and various meetings.
Questions for Jason? How's the fair been? What's attendance
Great,
like
we had
there?
110 unique visitors yesterday.
Excellent.
Yes, hopefully more today.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Enjoy. HR.
Quick updates. We are at full routes as of now. We recruited 4 new CDL drivers and also our CDL training program. We officially got 1 new driver and we have 2 coming up very soon with CDL certificates. For training and development, we expanded the training by assigning. So you might see in your director training a new meetings law training. The reason I assigned it to you, commissioners, is because it says updated by the CEO. So I just wanted to make sure you're up to date with any new assignments. Compliance, and that's mostly for the discussion a minute ago. All job descriptions are up to date. I'm just waiting for a final review before forwarding them to you. To your point, Chair Klesick, what you mentioned about the driver supervisor, maintenance supervisor, all of that is updated and it states that this is excluded, this is included for each one of them. So any feedback when you see them, please let me know so we can update them and make sure we're up to date with all of them. Okay. I'm also looking into a new system to have payroll, HR, workforce management, and operations under one system. The reason why we can this way increase our productivity and have everything under one system rather than just having 4 different systems. I already spoke to the data migration team. It's something we're capable of doing. We can just transfer whatever data we need to the new system and make sure that we have better efficiency. For risk management, we have the CPR training coming up in August 20th. So Jennifer is up to date with all that information. So if you need that information, just let us know. Lastly, you can see a mid-year human resources report. This is just so you're aware of what happened the last 6 months and each topic, each one of them. It's more of a FYI kind of thing. And then we have the workforce analysis, as you can see it. That's the most recent one. What how many FTEs do we have with percentages and all the other data that you need.
Where does it say FTEs? What am I missing?
It's just the term. I don't have a copy of it actually.
I don't see FTEs on this report. What I see is bodies, positions.
Okay.
And I would like to have that as FTEs as well. So if we have 1 FTE and 2 bodies, I'd like to be able to know that.
Absolutely.
So I also have another question, and that's with you say you're continuing to evaluate several workforce management and payroll solutions. That all comes to the board before any changes are made. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry to say to control.
So, if there are options and that kind of thing.
So, Commissioner Montero, just to clarify on that, I'm looking into one of the most used systems. The good news is Erica and I are certified to use that system. So we're not going to need a new training to start rolling things. We will have 24/7 support, the financial reports.
So you're going to include all that information when you present us with a proposal?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll do. All right. Any questions for me?
Any other questions for HR Director Kabir? I have a couple.
Okay.
So I just want to reiterate that this policy job descriptions for all district positions has remained unchanged as far as the report is concerned for at least 3 board meetings. And it is time that moves forward, that has been requested and it needs to be on the proposal for the org chart for next month.
So just to clarify, Chair Klesick, job descriptions from HR perspective are done. They're up to date. It's 2 steps process. I just need the direct managers to finally approve it. They've been going through it. They're going through step by step, point by point. Once we have it ready, I'll just forward it.
Okay, so What is being directed by the board is that those job descriptions will be part of the packet for next month associated with the org chart approval. That was what was said in that other item. You mentioned the trainings for the board. How are board members being notified of new trainings being available or required?
You should get an email from Victor telling you that you have an assigned training.
Have people gotten those emails?
I haven't seen a vector email I don't think during the last month.
What is the vector email?
Vector is
That needs looking into.
Vector's like the company.
I'm not sure if I can control that, but I'll try to go profile by profile and check if there's an option to send the email.
You can, and there is also a button that you need to click to make sure that when you add a new training, that it triggers a notification.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry. Oh.
You also mentioned that there's a comprehensive review and modernization of the personnel policy.
Correct.
When you came on board, I believe it was the second month you were here, the board was notified that had been completed. So what is different that is happening now?
Just to clarify, it was not completed. The policy is 213 pages.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long-term project, and thank you for bringing that up, but this is a long-term project. It was never completed until now, actually. On page 81, 82, there's a lot of laws and changes that have happened in the last 5 years since the policy was lastly updated. So that's going to take time. So it's an ongoing project.
Okay. You mentioned the discount from Brown and Brown.
Correct.
You negotiated a revised insurance fee structure. Does that mean that our coverage has changed? What sort of things have been changed? How was this negotiated? Or is this just the standard discount for completing best practices that all districts receive?
No, it was actually nothing that changed when it comes to the coverage. It's the same. And moving forward, we're going to try to get better coverage, actually. But this is because of how much we spend versus the expectations of how much we're going to spend next year. We went back and forth in negotiation, and those 6% came after we agreed into what the future plan is. So we're just hoping to do, I guess, better deals and more coverage for the employees moving forward.
And is that 6% reduction of current premiums, or 6% reduction on what they were proposing the premiums to be?
The proposals.
Okay.
And are we talking about employee insurance coverage or district liability coverage?
Employee insurance.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The CPR, first aid, AED training, is that something that board members should be invited to?
If you want to.
Register.
I would imagine that there's probably a maximum number of people for each class. No?
No, Dwayne doesn't require that. I will need to know and have a hard confirmation because it is $40. And I'd have to get you registered. There's 2 separate classes offered, so we can get all the staff in.
So why did I think we were going to get CPR? I thought Jonathan had offered to do that training.
It's listed in here why we switched gears.
Oh, okay. Why am I not reading? It's okay.
So I could have Erica, if you would like, I could have Erica send out the 2 calendar invites or just the information and then
If the board is interested, they can respond. I have one last request that is mine, and if the board doesn't concur, then that's all it is, and we're done. In your demographics distribution by position report, that very last chart, I think that would be much more indicative if the positions were grouped by classification versus individuals. I don't think this really tells us much, since many of our positions are one-person positions, but if you classify them by driver positions or admin positions or staff positions, then we know what our allocations are as far as though that is concerned within our district. How many employees do we have that are drivers percentage wise versus administration versus the other frontline staff?
Would you include finance and administration or put it separately?
Would be part of administration.
I would agree that that is a good way to go.
To me, that would be more meaningful than this chart that has all of the ones in it that doesn't really.
It depends. If you want to detail, this is the detailed one. If you want to summarize, I can summarize. It's real simple.
Yeah.
What is the board's desire?
Summarize makes sense.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
summarize classification.
And with FTEs put on there too.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions for the HR director here?
If you summarize admin, for example, you're just going to show 5 people.
But it then also shows the percentage of how many of our employees are admin classification versus frontline staff versus drivers.
Okay.
That last line, percentages, right? Yes. Does that make sense? Okay. Do we have anything else? Yes, we had a couple items that we
Can I
need to
bounce
go
back
back to.
to something from the executive director report real fast? Because I was busy doing something else and I heard you ask what SUD means. That's substance use disorder. And the discussion that they had was that some people are saying that they can't get to their substance use disorder provider, which they have to go to every single day because they don't have transportation. However, in further discussions that happened after that meeting, they realized all those people live in the county. They don't need special transportation. They can get on the bus and go down to Coda because that's transportation to Coda and Seaside. So they really don't need anything special.
Okay. There was a additional business that you wanted to add at the end of the meeting.
Yeah,
Director Stolberg did also, but that he just stepped out. So.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to add a motion that the board authorize the executive director to register, attend, and report on the supervisory training that is being offered through SDAO in the next few months.
Are you referring to the training? I believe it's a 6 series supervisory training.
Series.
It was in the SDAO newsletter.
Right.
Several weeks ago, months, maybe even a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Spaces are limited. Yeah. They did a great video about it online on their online post. We got a good chuckle out of that. So that was a motion that we authorized and asked to report and
to register, attend, and report.
Okay. So that's motion. Is there a second?
Awesome.
Seconded by Commissioner Tiefel. Discussion.
I would imagine it needs to be compared to his calendar to see if there are conflicts.
I would agree, and I would say that this should be a priority based on some of our discussions and the evaluation, as well as some of the comments made requesting how to move forward and assistance. And so trying to thread that needle there. So I think that I appreciate this being brought up. It piqued my attention when I saw it too, and I thought it would be very useful. So thank you for your memory being better than mine. There's a motion on the floor to authorize and the registration and reporting back of the executive director to a supervisory training series being offered through SDAO. It is actually offered by the training is being done by HR Answers. So that was what the discussion, I'm just summarizing because one of our commissioners just came back into the room. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. And now we're back to Commissioner
I
Stolberg.
didn't have a chance to comment. I'm gonna call for a comment after you got the, may I comment?
If you'd like to ask a question, sure.
I'm not asking a question. This feels like it's disciplinary action and in response to evaluation, you're requiring me to take training. And I take exception to that. I think that I've been supervising for 30 years and this seems to be just a lot.
So I will say that I didn't read this from any perspective as this is part of the process, and we, as Commissioner Montero, I also saw a training that we thought would be valuable, that is in alignment with our goals as a district and improvements that we are looking for. And this seems like a great opportunity to take advantage of a training that is currently available, that was brought up by all parties as something that could be useful for the district's positive growth going forward. People.
And I thought our motion was to authorize, but not direct.
We were asking him to register and report back to us on the session. So, yes.
And this also puts it in the context of Oregon state law or everything having to do in Oregon. So,
What law are you referring to?
Public meeting law, ethics laws, all the ORSs. It's not just specific to.
This is supervisor training. I'm confused.
Yes,
I haven't seen.
I
I haven't had a chance to see it at all.
It's supervisory training. It doesn't mean that your title is supervisor.
It's not a supervisor.
So the board has requested that you register and attend these trainings, and then report back to the board. Commissioner Stolberg, you had a motion that you wanted to make further on in the meeting. This is the opportunity and the time that to make that motion if you would still like to do that regarding the beginning topic at the beginning of the meeting.
I would like to do that. I would like guidance and suggestions on how to make that motion.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember
what the motion specifically, because some of it I feel like we have already addressed with the job descriptions that are going to be presented at the next meeting and with the technology updates that we approved.
We did address those items. We did address the safety and compliance issues and the potential OSHA violations.
Okay.
So.
I guess.
I don't know if we need a motion.
We don't know what is in the operations policy manual regarding those items. So I think the first thing we might want to do is get a copy of that part of the operations policy manual to make sure that OSHA, et cetera, are addressed. I know from the policy committee standpoint, our next priority is to deal with policies having to do with the safety of our staff. And those policies would be directing to make sure that operations.
So I have a proposal that maybe we request a presentation from the SETD safety committee at the next meeting that addresses some of the concerns that you brought up at the beginning of this meeting in your comments. Does that sound like a good first step?
That sounds like the proper direction.
Okay, Commissioner Romero.
And looking at my notes, I have OSHA/union agreement and then action items. And again, as a ex-union steward, I think what you have addressed is very essential, very significant in terms of protecting our labor and the public.
So we're requesting a report from our safety committee, from not the board safety committee,
No.
from the staff safety committee on the items that you brought up and mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, which they can review on the video and from the minutes.
Could we also request that we be sent the policies that have to do with the operations policies that have to do with staff safety?
They were able to see those.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the ones that the policies that the items that Commissioner Stolberg brought up, that the policies that are concerned in that regard should be presented in the safety committee report.
That would be good.
So as part of the safety committee report,
Does that require a motion that we do that to request that, or just the board
the board can request
consensus?
this. Yeah. Is the board requesting that? You can make it a motion, you can make it official, make it easier to track.
Then I move that we get a report on the concerns raised in this meeting from the safety committee, and they report back to the board
At the next meeting.
I'll second
at
that.
the next meeting.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Stolberg and seconded by Commissioner Romero. Any further questions or discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
I have one
Commissioner
more
Montero.
thing. I'd like for us to make sure that within the month that there's something on our splash page, homepage, whatever, that provides a venue for people to make comments and complaints. Do I need to make a motion for that, or is that a board direction?
Commissioner Carr, Director Carr.
What, could you just repeat the question? I wasn't sure I caught that.
That there be something on our homepage that provides the opportunity for anyone to make comments and complaints that come either to the board or to the to operations, to wherever it needs to go. I can.
My understanding is it exists.
It does not exist.
It says contact us.
Yeah, and you want to know what it says under contact us?
Yeah.
It doesn't, contact us. Mailing address, phone number, transit service, bus center, bus service information, ride assist, paratransit. And then it says general questions, complaints, and lost and found.
Yes.
Okay, and all it says is questions that ride the bus. So if
And
I click on that, it goes nowhere.
Oh.
It
See,
goes
I
nowhere.
think it's there. I think it's broken,
So I can fix that.
so we can fix that.
It's
Yeah.
the link.
So I don't,
But-
so we will fix that.
So I think that for now, that is an important fix. And as we move forward with the website redesign, we're hearing that we want that ability for people to reach out to us for whatever reason to be more front and center.
Mhm.
Okay. Commissioner Stolberg.
I would add that given the history of the failure of those reports to go forward, that we have some sort of transactional confirmation that somebody received it and will respond, whether it's an automatic response or not.
So building into that, when somebody clicks send, that there's an auto responder that says your message has been received.
Auto responder, I like that. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Commissioner, I do
Right.
I do want to add that I did get an email yesterday from that question, so I think it's working sporadically maybe. Okay.
because I did get one yesterday, and one of the last complaint that I got was from one email.
Okay.
Her link, that link where she pointed out might not be working because that questions link is multiple places on our website. So they
Okay.
do.
Excellent. All right, anything else?
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg?
To wrap up the question, we were distributed these materials earlier. Are any of them needing to be returned regarding the executive director evaluation?
We need these goals back. Because nobody made any sort of motion regarding the goals.
This,
Oh, well, I can make a motion on it.
is it SMART goals and integration plan?
Yes.
This page.
No,
That's public.
that, it is
Oh, no.
actually not.
Yeah,
That comes back also, that goes in the file. So that's just for your information purposes. And then I have a copy that you get signed and then duplicated and
To clarify the point, the only piece we're keeping is the public statement.
correct, the public statement.
Okay, all right.
The work page is that.
I'd say,
I don't want to take no place
It
on this
wasn't
book.
part of the package. Thank you.
That's a whole.
Piece.
So we need a
They were on the
motion to
table.
go forward with developing the SMART goals.
They were on this thing?
That'd be a good one.
Okay,
Table.
so I'm gonna move that
Okay.
the board go forward with developing SMART goals for the coming year for the executive director.
Motion has been made to move forward developing SMART goals for the executive director for the coming year, for the current fiscal year we are in.
Correct. Thank you for that correction.
And I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Romero. Any discussion? So the executive director evaluation committee will work on this, or we will just put it on the agenda to work on?
needs to go on the agenda.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Just as a clarification. Any more discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. The work session. All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
All those opposed? Thank goodness, we are adjourned.